Welcome to this week's Sector of Insight. During this week's show, we're going to cover three topics. The first one is going to be the introduction of a new national healthcare policy in Armenia. Then we're going to move on to give you an update on what seems to be the endless state-church war that is going on a daily basis. And then we're going to close with an update on the border delimitation process with Azerbaijan. A few weeks ago, Armenian Health Minister Anahit Avanesyan announced the establishment of a new national healthcare system. It will be implemented in three phases, with the rollout beginning in 2026 and scheduled for completion by 2028. The first phase will cover approximately 1.6 million citizens who have resided in Armenia the last 183 days. This phase will include children, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and individuals with a monthly income exceeding 200,000 drams. The universal insurance system will encompass preventive care, early detection, screening programs, and other healthcare services. The annual insurance package will cost 129,600 drams, a little more than $300 per person, and will be funded by citizens via taxation. You know, in analyzing this, we actually had a national healthcare system during Soviet times, and this is really the first attempt to reestablish it since then. Right now, we have a very inconsistent healthcare system. If you have the resources and the money and can use private clinics, you can actually get very good healthcare services. And if you don't, your options are somewhere between catastrophic to very mediocre at best. I have my doubts if we actually have the complete infrastructure in place as far as the medical services to actually be able to comply once this law is being implemented. But at the end of the day, you need to start somewhere. For me, this is a very good step forward. This is a matter of social justice, and we should all be supportive of this. And it tells you what crazy times we live in as far as the broader issues that we deal with, that something as vital as this doesn't actually get more public attention or debate. The church-state war that we've seen in the last couple of months is continuing full pace without any stops. The Prime Minister and half of his cabinet, looking thoroughly bored, will go from one church service to the next, from this Sunday to the other Sunday. Last Thursday, Archbishop Arshak Khachaturian, who was essentially the right-hand person to the leader of the church, the Valapar, was arrested on drug trafficking charges from 2018, which frankly sound a bit ridiculous. This is what is used in Baku to arrest people, these drug charges or money laundering charges, which are absurd, sound absurd in this case. Last week, a group of the bishops actually broke with the Valapar, joining the Prime Minister in asking for his resignation. Many of these breakaway bishops are actually some of the people that have actually been severely criticized by the Prime Minister before. The best example of them being Archbishop Navasart, who's well known for his Rolls Royces and Rolexes. What is this likely to lead to? If you actually think through it logically, it's going to end in the arrest of the Valapar, which I think is quite likely at this point. The Prime Minister sort of hinted at this at the Parliament, saying that he takes his instructions from foreign intelligence services. Well, what other conclusion can you draw? Obviously, he's referring to Russia in this case. In trying to understand at the moment, it's very clear that the Nikol Pashinyan government is well on its way of breaking and cracking the church unity and the church itself. It's quite likely that the Valapar will in one way or the other, via arrest or other means, will be forced out of his position. All of this has to do with next year's elections, and it specifically, from the state point of view, is how Russia has used these national churches, whether in Moldova or in Georgia, to suit its political purposes. This is sort of, in a way, from a very crass political perspective, a preemptive strike. It's almost impossible to guess what the impact of this would be, especially a high-profile arrest of this case. Up to this point, if you look at the polling, the state, in this case the government, has been just as damaged as much as the church. Overall, for the country itself, this would actually be a disaster. And I say this as someone who's actually quite critical of the church. A coup inside of the church in which the current leadership is replaced by leadership that is closer to the government will simply alternate one kind of illegitimacy with another one. Current illegitimacy is based on corruption and tied to foreign countries, and the next one would be essentially being controlled by the state. In essence, the leader of our church will become what the leader of the Russian church is, following Putin's orders. Our church needs reform, self-reflection, contrition about how it has actually failed our people. However, none of these actions are going to lead to that contrition or self-reflection. It's simply going to politicize an institution that is already way too politicized. On November 28, 2025, the 12th meeting of the Commission on Delimitation and Border Security of the state border between the Republic of Armenia and Republic of Azerbaijan was held in the city of Gabala in Azerbaijan. During the meeting, the parties noted that the areas to be delimited next are the intersection borders areas of Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia, and then in the southern direction, the border of Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Iran. You know, this commission has met 12 times already, and it's only delimited about 12.6 kilometers of the border, and almost all of it in Tavush, in areas that were actually quite favorable to the other side, because it was one of the few areas that we actually had substantial control over the other side's territory. This is exactly what actually led to the Tavush movement from about a year and a half ago. At this pace, this will take the Commission 79 years to actually finish their job. Since then, for the most part, when they meet, you can say that they meet to reach a consensus to hold another meeting, because nothing seems to be moving forward. And the areas, if you notice, the areas that they talked about, delimiting next, are areas which are not controversial in any way and do not involve the massive amounts of occupied territories that the other side simply does not want to give up. The reality is that at this point, this is really not a delimitation process. It's simply a process that will legitimize Azerbaijan's continued occupation of Armenian territory for decades to come, barring massive international pressure, most likely from the United States, which is not likely. Aliyev is never going to leave the occupied territories via peaceful means. One would need to be an idiot to believe otherwise. Thank you for joining me in this week's Subtotal Insights.
First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.